Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Alrighty. How you
Okay.
doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good,
Can't
good.
really
Work's
complain.
been work's been like
How's work? How's work? That's
yeah, it's been kind
great.
of busy just because we got this big got their first ever company summit happening this Friday, and
Uh-huh.
I'm the one who's basically like making sure that like all the slide decks get put together, all the material, like
Yeah,
so
sure.
just a lot of stuff to kind of get figured out now. But I think we're at a really good place now. It's like
Yeah.
it's more just like we're trying to like get all the stuff, all my stuff kind of needs to be done like earlier in the week so that like the actual presenters can practice. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The work's been good. Oh my god. My
Yeah.
cat is being a big cuddle bug.
Hmm.
I think he
That's
missed me.
nice.
I think he missed me when I was gone all day. Gotta be careful
Yeah,
because one time I
I'm
was.
glad that the grind. Yeah, I'm glad the grind finally paid off.
Oh yeah, thank God.
That's
Like
good to see.
yeah, and I mean I'm still technically on a month-to-month contract, but like there's no signs of that ending anytime soon. And it was like that, and that one, I
Mhm.
was on the contract because they were like, we'll bring you on the contract instead of like going through a full long interview process. And I mean, the work's been going well, I think. So I think like maybe in a month or so, I'm gonna kind of try to convert to being on salary.
Nice. Okay, that's good. So that's the end goal here at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is to be like salary, like
Yeah. I don't think there's
I
anything
guess
else
what.
I'd rather be doing right now, with the way the market is.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. Let's do this.
Alrighty, I'll join. Do you want to get a little intro when we start?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Let's do
All
it.
right, I am in the game, ready to go.
Yeah, and I am almost in too, but it's good to be back. Finally, able to make it to the semis too here. It's a hard hitter, honestly. We have obviously the veteran, very proven player now. Been to what, four finals at this point. That's extra large hits. And they are in the orange, uh, second placement there. We also have Aaron Wan, who is again a very strong player, has lost to extra large tip many times, and
Yeah, looking for
is looking
redemption
for revenge
today.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And we got two new players, the man 10, and I guess here they are Morgan 0713 and Jonas, and they're both new players to the league, doing really well for their first go around. Right, everyone here has had 2 wins out of 4, so very strong players all around. What do you think of the first placements here so far?
Yeah, I mean, and first of all, congrats to all these players getting here to the knockout stage. They're, the winner of this game will be playing the finals. Really tough season all around. You mentioned all these players have 2 wins. Basically, had to get 2 wins to get to the playoffs, but not many players with 3 or 4 wins. So I
Hmm.
think we should have a really exciting, even match today. But just looking at this board initially, that 10-5-9 placement really stands out to me first. I mean, like this is a
Hmm.
really if I had to put a label on it, I call it a shit ass board. we
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have the three of the eights and sixes on the edge. We have the robber kind of in the middle, and
Hmm.
we don't really have a lot of those very strong explosive spots. Like that 10-5-9 is maybe the highest like production you're going to get on this board, and so can definitely see,
Right.
see that ores at very low supply. Like we're probably not going to see a ton of it going around. So we see Aaron, prioritizing that with his first placement.
Hmm.
You can't fault the other 2 placements as well. Wood isn't super plentiful outside of those eights, and so we can see,
Hmm.
we can see blue and red making sure they get their stake on the wood, and also getting a little bit of those other resources. The thing that's really striking to me though about the board is the lack of wheat. I mean, ore isn't that common, but the wheat especially, it's not on any
Hmm.
good numbers.
Yeah, but I will say, definitely, Black here has the strongest setup to start. quartering off that ore is going to be really, really useful, I think, in the long term. And on top of that, pointing to that wood port is going to make that wood useful in the late game. And then with the second placement, being able to at least get some wheat on a low wheat board, and then kind of max out on sheep as far as things go. This is a very balanced ore sheep game, and I feel really good about Black's chances to start.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest cost for them about their setup right now is they don't have any brook protection, so they're gonna have to really rely on trades for that. And honestly, with like how sparse everything's looking at the start of this game, I don't know how much people are gonna be trading. I think maybe the dice rolls will be the biggest contributing factors to everyone's decisions here. You know, but Aaron does have that dev card city setup. The biggest question for Aaron is honestly going to be, first of all, do those 5 rolls. He's doubling, it's his best spot by far, as well as is he able to get enough wheat from that 4 to sustain his machine? If the 4s decide not to roll, he's sitting here and he can't really even do much. Unlike some of these competitors, if you're looking at Blue Morgan here, Morgan can at least Morgan doesn't have any wheat. Kind of scary on this board, especially when there's not going to probably be an excess of wheat, but they can build roads, so at least they have that going for them. Looking at extra large doesn't have any wood, and so they're also missing that resource. And then looking at Jonas in the red here, we can see plants in the last settlement. They are missing both sheep and ore, so every competitor on the board here is missing at least 1 resource, if not 2, and some of them that extra resource that's keeping them from missing 2 resources isn't that strong. So very interested to see how this breaks at the very beginning of the game, because it's kind of sparse on all the resource sides.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, I think, setups all around. Very weird board yields, very weird setups. So it makes sense, but I still think I'm backing Black here.
Yeah, I think that in a world of beggars, he's perhaps the king of beggars on this board.
Sure.
He does have a game plan that's in front of him that doesn't require him to trade with anybody, versus all his other competitors to build anything have to trade pretty much.
Yeah. And everyone's raging, and yeah, I think Black's already feeling really good in the chat. We got a cheeky little 12 there to start the game.
Yeah, and it's I can see why Red is perhaps a little feeling a little upset to start the game on a port spot that presumably is never going to be used.
Right. It sucks, but that's how the game goes sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like they were looking at the sport spots, and they kind of they realized the only good spots that were really open to them, not really giving them necessarily the resources, production, or the quality, the kind of resources they wanted, because they really wanted to get that brick. I mean, for Red though, missing 2 resources to start the game, not great, and also but double invested on 4s and 8s. If 4s and 8s roll a ton, I mean, Red can perhaps surprise us in this game.
Yeah, the production is going to be there if they can settle, but they need to get to the 3-for-1 port. They'll probably end up settling on the 3-6, best case scenario at the bottom there. But we'll see. They have a lot of space to work with at least.
Yeah. And I mean, the early rolls coming down. We're seeing some roads getting built. Not that surprising. We expected that 10 game blocked early on. Interesting choice here. I mean, I think that extra large, it's kind of just a value point. It's very there's definitely opportunities if you want to be mean with the robber, where you can cut off pretty much any player from one of their resources if you want.
Right. People are already calling GGs. I think it's interesting because I would say that everyone's probably aware that Black is in the most comfortable spot here, but at the same time,
if everyone teams up on Black,
exactly. So it's not that simple. They got to build their third settlement. If they can get their third settlement down, then they'll be in really good shape.
Yeah, and I mean, if I'm looking at this board here, my sleeper pick right now is probably extra large tit. Shocker, picks the proven champion as his sleeper pick, but
right.
Look at their setup. They first of all, they have really great variety of numbers. They're on a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 9, and a 10. So they are kind of hedging against some of the randomness that some of their competitors are really for example, Red. We talked about it. If the 4s and 8s don't roll, they're not going to really get many resources. And orange, the only resource they're really missing is wood. But wood seems like it's a resource that might be more available for trade. It's on 2/8s. It's really the only thing they're missing. And they've already set themselves up once they get that wood that they need to build a settlement on a port, give themselves more flexibility. And so in a world where, black is looking very threatening, and extra large can, in the orange, can definitely sneak under the radar a little bit, perhaps. However, if they start throwing down early settlements, perhaps that element of surprise will be lost.
Yeah, those are fair points. You see here, red risking it, trying to
Yeah,
get through a whole rotation without rolling a 7. I don't know about that.
yeah. I mean, it's the kind of thing that maybe in their position, if they can't trade for resources, they might have to do. You can see interesting play coming in from blue here. Building lots of roads to start the game. They definitely have the road set up. Oh my God, yeah, they've already placed, what is that, 4 roads? I think we know
Yeah,
who's gonna get longest road.
but choosing not to connect, right, which is a very interesting play. I think they just trust that black won't build 2 roads to block them off, which is a fair assumption. But being very aggressive and taking over that wood port, which actually is a good play, I would say, because I don't think that black ever wants to settle on the 3-11-9 here. So I think settling on the wood port is probably the first priority for blue.
Yeah,
And a big turn coming up for black here.
yeah, I mean, black with 8 cards in hand. Oh my God, yep, you can see in there.
Okay.
Uh,
A monopoly just for a brick. That's how badly he needs it. So
yeah, that's, I mean, I guess you have additional timber left over. We talked about, timber was probably, wood was probably going to be the most plentiful resource on the board.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's the things you gotta do to build roads. And we see orange here. We talked about it. Just needed to get 1 timber. We can see they get it with
Yep.
with the robbers stealing from black after black used that monopoly. And extra larges, yeah, and their setup. They definitely seem to have the setup here that is the most resilient. Of course, we'll
Yeah.
see if they become an enemy and start getting robbed. But I mean, Aaron having to go through all that just to get a single brick, trying to get onto that port, really.
Yeah, and great sleeper pick by you, honestly. I think the setup is a bit wonky here for orange, but the 3-for-1 port on the first settle is very strong, especially with the 1 dev card behind.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting here.
Yeah.
The robber gets placed on the 5 sheep.
Yeah, it's definitely a great example of taking what you can get. I mean, and it's easy to look at Aaron's setup and be like, okay, Aaron's the only self-sufficient one, but Orange, they can get up there. I mean, we can already see they're getting blocked on that 5 spot, but I mean, if you're Orange, the only spot you really don't want to get blocked on is that 10 wheat. Everything else is a little bit redundant or not super critical for you.
Yeah.
And then luckily they share that spot with red, and so red's probably not going to rob it, at least until they get very desperate. And also, just looking at this board, we don't really expect a lot of development cards to get pulled. And so if extra large can maybe use their meager ore production to get the just enough development cards to keep the night off, I mean, it might be very hard to stop them.
Yeah, and you can see in the chat actually red rage quitting off of the unfairness of the game. So it should be an interesting dynamic now if the bot actually comes into play long term. No, people are saying no trade with the bot, which is pretty customary, I would say, but should be interesting dynamics.
Man, oh, and we see, alrighty. Well, I just turned on the audio accidentally, which I do not like. But yeah, I mean, we can see Aaron, the black here, getting that settlement down. The production isn't going to be probably that useful for them, but that port, probably is going to give them a lot of flexibility that they really need. But I mean, that robber seems to really have some favorite spots it's going to be on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough, right? Because usually my go-to for placing the robber somewhere is the highest wheat spot, the highest wheat production. You can never really go wrong with it. But in this case, right, the 5 sheep is so nice for red that it makes sense to just like even it out, right?
Yeah.
Um, but long term, I think maybe maybe the 5 sheep gets hit, but maybe you do look for that 10 wheat like it's being hit now.
Yeah. All right, so 7 here. All righty. Yeah, it looks like red is determined to stay out of this game. A little upset about the way their luck broke early in the game.
Yeah, yeah, which is which is not amazing, but you can't
Yeah,
really control what happens in the game sometimes, right? It's a game of luck at the end of the day. So it's gonna sometimes roll your way and sometimes it won't, That's how it
yeah,
goes.
and I think that they're not in the worst position ever in the world. I mean, they're really the only thing they're really missing is sheep, but there seems to be a decent amount of sheep production on the board, and the big advantage for them that they might not be they might not fully realize is once they can kind of string together some settlements and some resources, they do that bottom half of the map. They kind of have first dibs on if they want to go for it. And there's some decent
Hmm.
spots bound down there, like that 8-3 and that 3-6 spot that are both open, or like honestly, like in terms of this board, like almost starting position caliber at the end of
Hmm.
the day. And so if they put together a few of those resources, they're really only missing ore, and you can definitely win a game without ore. And if they get enough 3-for-1 port, so in my opinion, a little bit of a premature rage quit, but emotions are gonna be what emotions are.
Sure. And blue here looking for the first settle, but securing 2 spots, right? So they're gonna have to be wary of black just trying to plow them if it ever comes to it. But I don't think black ever will. It's not really worth it for them either.
Yeah, I mean
So
it's. I mean, and I don't. Yeah, exactly. Like it's so hard for Black to do. Like Black, it's a huge expenditure of resources,
right.
and they're not necessarily going to probably make a great like. I'm sure that Blue will be able to recover and still get largest road,
Hmm.
but definitely is interesting. I mean, we'll see if Blue. Blue has gotten lots of resources. Has opted definitely to prioritize one of those roads, but you have to think they really they need that wheat. They need that wheat, and it's really coming in and hurried them here. We can see that's the only thing they're really missing.
And you'll see in the chat actually, orange here with the table talk, right? This is kind of what sways the game a lot of the times, especially with his style of game. Um, I think it's interesting, right? Like if you just do a specific type of trade where you put the robber on someone else instead of me, and I'll give you a resource. I think those types of trades are interesting, and maybe they could happen a little bit more, right? You can be creative with this stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that oh, we see the wheat coming
Yeah,
in, and
there you
the
go.
trade the trade and all that worked ended up working out for Blue, and that is gonna be hopefully a very big resource for them with that 2-for-1 port. I mean, they're producing a decent amount of wood from that 8 spot, and
Hmm.
it seems that they're once they go on that 9 spot for wood that you see just
Hmm.
rolled, they're expecting to have a surplus. And hey, now when that 10 ore gets rolled too, they double up there. It's all looking really it's looking solid for them. It's just that question is gonna be can they get enough wheat to sustain their machine?
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, we see the amount of table talk going on for wheat, and I mean, Blue does have to feel very happy with the trade they just made, where it's 1 wheat for 1 wood. I mean, that's great for them. I mean, it is a perfect match here of okay, extra large doesn't really have any wood, and so that could be a partnership that we see starting to define this game with blue and orange really, both of them having access to the resources that other needs. And if they're able to kind of string together some trades, it could leave Aaron on the outside looking in.
Oh, and Jonas has come back with the twist to the
Red has
century.
rejoined the game. I'm not sure if they're going to be that happy with the decisions the bot made with Rhodes.
Although the bot is leading now, so I don't know if you can blame it that much. But this is what a crazy twist I would never have seen
Yeah,
coming.
I mean, the bot comes in, places a settlement, places 3 roads. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to think that Red was in a position there where we talked about it, it's a little premature. Like he can do something like those resources that Red used there. Red could have place a settlement on that 8-3 spot and gotten some more wood and wheat,
Yeah.
or could have even built all over to that 3-6 spot for the sheep and the wheat and built a settlement there and been right back in this game. And so we can see Red's 5-minute rage quit could actually be what ends up costing them the game, not their initial placements.
Right. And he's back to rage quitting, which at this point I don't
I
necessarily
mean, yeah, it is. There's a little bit here where I'm like, okay, no, if you didn't rage quit the first time, you probably would have been good. But because
Yeah,
you rage quit, you
maybe.
sealed your fate. There's a lesson there, folks, for everyone listening at home. Stick it out, because sometimes by giving up, you'll sacrifice everything you don't yet have.
Never give up. Never give up.
Never give up. Oh
But
man.
yeah, it's like a very tight race still, right? I think that's very interesting. Everyone has 3 victory points aside from the longest road holder. But it's a very tight race except for the one death card that Aaron Wan has, which I think will be a factor going forward in the long term. I think next settle for Black here is the 4-3 wheat, and just keep death carding from there. City death card, and you win the game just like that.
Yeah, I think something to keep an eye on here too is extra large in the orange here, up to 2 knights deployed. I imagine if you get the 3 knights, it's probably pretty hard to take the largest army from somebody, and so winning this, and with the resource scarcity that we see on this board, it's probably not going to be very hard to reach 10 VP with cities and settlements, because the players that can build settlements can't really build cities, and the players that can build cities can't really build settlements right now. And so, getting something like the largest army or largest road is going to probably really sway those winning odds. And so, instead, Orange is in a position right here where they're kind of you see a very clear path to victory for them, and probably right now, to me, perhaps the most expected path to victory. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I think I'm just laughing at the comments.
Yeah, the bot is
The bot is just
cracked.
cracked, right? Yeah. I mean, the bot is making moves, right? Like, just getting so many resources, and everyone here is getting a lot of production this rotation. So hopefully the 7 doesn't come, but just, everyone's putting in their effort. I don't think it'll be that clear, but if you do secure a largest army, then, it's going to be tough to get it back always. It's never easy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a narrative here where the bot just goes absolutely off, wins this game. I mean, crazier things have happened, I'm sure, but I can't think
Yeah.
of any.
Yeah, and I mean, it's at some point, these humans have got to band together and take down, the
We
the
will not
bots.
let
Yeah,
AI supplant us.
exactly, exactly. Um,
Yeah, and we see blue passing their turn with, full 10 cards in hand.
yeah,
Saying
these
up,
are dubious risks.
yeah, I mean, it could be in a position, they could be looking at their hand and see 3 brick, 3 wheat, like 3 wood, and not really want to make any of those trades. I mean, I guess not 3
Sure.
wood, they have a wood port, but oh my god, we have 3. You have Aaron also, passing down under at 5, but immediately getting 3 cards back. I mean, those 5s and those 10s for Aaron, they hit. But 3 contestants now over 8 cards. Maybe we'll start to see people getting past that 3 VP threshold. I'm not counting the bots, Longest Road in that.
And everyone is just getting over 7 and not using their resources. It's just very interesting. But Orange here is acting quickly and getting their moves in, and the bot with another road for a placement. I feel
I'm,
good. I feel good about the bot's chances.
I mean, and this is what we said. I mean, imagine where the bot would imagine where Red if Jonas still stayed in this game and they were making decisions for the bot. Imagine where they'd be right now. I mean,
Yeah, that's the
they'd
thing.
probably have they'd probably have 4 settlements,
Ooh,
including a settlement on the 8-3 and a settlement on the 3-6. I mean, but Morgan and the blue here, that is a huge city. I mean, How did they, they got just enough wheat and they've gone the tens to roll. And I mean, now every single 8 is any resource they want. That's a huge move. And
Oh, and
Aaron
a
also
city
pointed
to
out the city.
respond.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, 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 wow. And I mean, extra large put down their settlement and on a really strong port. This game is starting to heat up, folks.
Yeah, I feel I actually don't even know who's going to win at this point. Which is, it might sound stupid. Yeah, of course everyone's at four, VPs, but it really is a tight race because everyone has a clear path to victory, right? Blue's going to take longest road. Orange is going for largest army and will city on that cheap spot, 9, 5, 10. And black will continue to city and hopefully dev card for the win with that 3 for 1 port. So
Yeah,
everyone has a really clear path here.
yeah. I mean, and the questions for each player remain the same, but you're starting to see paths to answers. So blue is missing wheat still, but now every time they roll an 8, that's wheat. And hey, if they roll 2 8s and a 10, that's a city. I mean, that's not the
Hmm.
most unreasonable thing to see happen. Oh, able to get largest road. What we expected. Seems like they're just kind of trying to close that off for the sake of it. I
Right.
mean, looking at orange. Orange really needs ore, but there's maybe going to be an excess of ore coming from some other contestants from blue and black, and they'll be able to trade for. I mean, not if the 10 is blocked like that, but
Yeah, but it's a good placement, I think, hitting both players that are competing against you and securing largest army, and
God,
that'll be tough to take away, like you said.
yeah, those fives for black are just. I mean, they're huge. I think black still needs to get
Yeah,
traded in for wheat, but the production for resources on a single roll is it's always nice.
yeah, for sure.
And we see extra large orange. Make sure we comment on it. Able to secure their largest army.
Hmm.
It's really just going to be can they get ore quickly enough? They've got 4 settlements. They got largest army. They just have to build a few cities, and then I'm not worried about their ability to build settlements. They have plenty of production on that front. It's just, hey, what are those threes looking like? Ooh,
Ooh,
black
second city.
second city, and now the production is just starting to really get up there for black.
Yeah, this is a huge city. Again, like I said, next spot is going to be the 4-3 probably of the wheat. From there, it's just rolling, right? Like now you got the extra production. Fours are going to be, something you rely on, which may not come through, but overall, the production is the production.
Yeah, and the 5 and the 11 sheep, that extra resource from each of them. That's
Right.
that's really just trade fodder for that 3 for 1 port,
Exactly.
but that doesn't hurt. And yeah, then now those fours become so much better, doubling up that wheat production. It's it is. We're starting to, I said, like, I just want to call it once again. If red is staying in this game, I think red would be at, 4 pretty strong settlements and, would still potentially be in this game. But
Hmm.
it's definitely starting to develop into the very much that 3 horse race. But all horses seem to be neck and neck.
Yeah, and orange here is going to try to settle on the 9 sheep.
Oh,
Wheat's still looking
blue!
to be
Another
full, and
settlement
it's
up to
just going to stay
7!
huge, huge.
Another city.
And yeah, this is really ramping up exponentially, right? I think it was much slower to begin with than it is right now. Like people are just getting VPs every turn.
Yeah, and I mean, in blue, they have a settlement spot secured at 311.9, so they can build a settlement and they can build a city there. It's now just, hey, like, how quickly can they get wheat? And I mean, they seem to have no problem accumulating wheat from their trades and their ports. So they're looking at probably getting to 9 pretty closely. It's now looking like orange and black are gonna have to work some magic to catch up to blue before blue can close out this game.
Yeah, it's it's nice, right? Like I think we've seen a lot of players do this, kind of lay out the road before they settle, secure those spots, and I think that kind of strategy is kind of taken hold here and is proving really nice for blue. Like they can kind of relax and just let the game play out.
Yeah, and I mean, this is we see Aaron rolling a 7 and making the move that we're gonna need to keep an eye on, because that is the biggest weakness to Blue's game plan right now. Is that Blue, when that 8 wood spot is blocked, they're not
Mhm.
making any wood and they're not making any wheat production, and they have to 4 for 1 for both of those resources to build a settlement. So getting that robber off that spot for Blue there, huge move. orange and black are going to have to continue to pepper in that spot. But not only is blue going to try to get it off there, but red's going to get off there along as well with the sevens. So that
Yeah.
that fight over that 8 spot, I think, is probably going to be the determining factor of this game.
Yeah, it might end up being down to dev cards, in which case I think the advantage goes to. I don't even know at this point. It might even just go to orange, just because the sheep board is so strong.
Yeah,
But
and I mean
I would also
orange
say,
building a very very key city there on a
yep,
on their what is probably their best spot, and
yeah,
pulling up alongside blue. Now they're also at 7. They're perhaps a little bit less exposed to the robber, and now black is starting to be on the outside looking up at blue
yeah,
and orange competing with each other, and this is maybe shaking up to be the kind of game that between blue and orange where the way the dice crumbles and the way the robber sits is maybe going to end up being a determining factor between the two. But that 8, I mean, that 8 is just looks it's of course big for the bot,
it's
but
pretty. Yeah.
giving blue any resource they want here,
Hmm.
very nice. They could build
And
2 more
red,
roads.
any resource
Yeah,
they want with 4 wood. So
yeah.
you never know what they can do.
Yeah, an interesting move coming in from blue here. Blue, who had 2 wood and 2 brick in hand, opting to
Hmm.
use one of each to build a road to another potential settlement spot. Trying to maybe secure their path to victory. Opting not to kind of wait and accumulate resources to get wheat if they, when they need it to settle. It'd be interesting to see if that choice, you know, hits them at all a little bit, kind of prioritizing future growth over current growth.
Yeah, and I think I would have actually placed the roads to cut off orange here with the 2 roads. Cutting off orange wastes one of the roads of orange, and you get a better production spot with the 9 sheep, especially if you're late game. I know you don't produce any wheat to trade with the wheat port, but it doesn't matter. I think you just go there just for the value. But
Yeah. Yeah.
here, I think it makes sense, and I think here, Black kind of getting into his settling down and getting to
Well,
that solid
that 5
spot.
got rolled. 5 got rolled to start Aaron's 2 5s in a
Oh
row
my
for
God!
Aaron.
Look at that production.
I mean, if that rolls around back to Aaron, Aaron's gonna have some fireworks planned. They're up to 6 here. They're up to two knights, and so don't count them out if the 5s keep rolling like that.
Hmm. But orange here has options with 10. I don't know exactly what
They
they'll be
have
looking to do.
yeah, they have 4 sheep using 2 on that sheep port going to wheat. I imagine they're looking to perhaps city again or get more development cards. We see them purchasing our development card. Perhaps going up to another
Oh my
5.
God.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
God. 17 resources.
And then
I
8.
hope it gets through.
Yeah,
GG.
it's all 2 resources. But we see blue here building settlement going up to 8 with still 7 cards in hand. We know they have to settle. We know they have to city. They don't have any development cards. Orange can also be at 9. Those could be 2 VPs in hand. Oh my
Oh
god. Oh my
my God.
god. Blue going up to 9. Another 5. Oh my god.
22 resources. This is
All right,
huge.
this
is
has
a
to be
turning
it.
point,
Like,
potentially.
yeah, I mean, blue and orange are probably so close to winning this game. Black has to make some moves, but the timer, not that generous in this game. Keep an eye on it. Look, let's see what Black is
They're gonna
able
need
to
to
pull
dev
out.
card. I
Yeah, I
think they're
mean,
gonna need
Black
to dev
needs to
card here.
probably city and develop and get just fish for development cards. Oh, fish for
Okay,
2
that's a
development cards.
solid
Didn't
trade.
win the game though. Oh, and then orange
Oh,
rolling a
terrible.
7. Aaron dodged that bullet. But orange, extra large having discard 5 cards in hand. But we're at a position here where all 3 of these players are potentially at 9 victory points. I mean, not many cards in hand, but I feel like we're nearing the end of this game.
Yeah, and it is neck and neck, right? Anyone could have 2 VPs here with their dev cards, which makes it 999, and it doesn't get closer than that, right? I
Yeah.
think people are fighting hard.
Yeah, we have to assume that, and now in each player, basically is in a position where a city or pulling a victory point potentially can win them the game. Oh, extra large buying another development card, not winning the game. Well, you have to assume that
Yeah,
I mean, they got something cooking then.
Yeah. I mean, with three dev cards, something's got to happen. Even if they aren't all VPs, one of them is going to lead to a VP.
Oh, using a road builder, but not really going to be able to get anywhere close to similar just row, but setting up for a settlement possibility instead of just having to only do a city and gain 3 wheat there.
Although, right, 3 more roads, and they do take away the longest road, so that is a win condition for them.
Yeah, and we got 7 here for Aaron, choosing the block blue. Makes a lot of sense. Blue has 9. You kind of have to respect the 9 represented.
Yeah, you have to.
And using their own road builders. So both road builders gone.
Oh, man.
We can see both black and orange giving themselves the possibilities to build settlements and not just be confined to a city.
Yep. And I think any settle here is going to... Well, black needs to settle and city, but I think if orange settles here, they'll be in...
Oh, orange using the Year of Plenty. Oh my god, building another road. Are they going to build another road here to win the game? Oh!
Perfect.
The development cards.
Oh
Perfect development cards. Wow! My sleeper pick won the game, but oh my god.
Yeah, you gotta hand it to him, right? This is the player that has been going to every single finals for the past 3 tourneys at this point. He is on fire, and this just shows why, right? I think just staying in it, right? Staying in it is all that matters. You kind of hang around, don't be the biggest target at any given point, and yeah, just swooping in at the end to steal away longest road. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, and I mean you have to give credit to blue. Blue, only got 74 resources. Definitely wasn't, we had black and orange were closer to 90 each. So blue definitely punching above their weight with the luck, but orange getting the that road builder and that Year of Plenty were what they needed there. They saw the pathway. When they pulled both those cards, they thought about it and executed the perfect time. I mean, very well played. I mean, look at those die stats. The 8s were a little bit plentiful, but pretty even game all around. And so I guess this all just means is orange better than the rest of us. I guess we'll have to find out in the finals.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm glad I got to scout this one out before I go head to head against.
Yeah, so looking like it's gonna be you. It's gonna be orange, and we're still waiting on the other 2 finalists, right?
I think we have Steve.
Steve will be the 3rd finalist, and we have one more knockout game to play.
One more. Yep.
Then you guys will go to the finals.
Stay tuned for that.
Well, all right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.